Hello, I'm Dr. Alan Wolfelt. I serve as director of the Center for Loss and Life Transition, located in the foothills just west of Fort Collins, Colorado. What an honor to be able to provide you with a presentation that, as you can see, I've titled Acknowledging the Potential of Holiday Blues: Practical Tips to Survive and to Thrive. While we naturally reflect on the holidays as being festive occasions to celebrate, this can also be a challenging time of the year for many people. In fact, we know that each year millions of people suffer from increased stress and tension during the holidays. Without a doubt, holidays have the potential to evoke powerful emotions, sometimes joy and happiness, sometimes anxiety and depression, and sometimes even frustration and anger. As we all realize, holidays are times when we usually gather with our family and with our friends. The simple experience of gathering for a meal often reveals family strengths, weaknesses, and even potential skeletons. We're invited to reflect on our memories of life losses, our relationships, both good and bad, our disappointments, our successes, our hopes, and our dreams. Yes, holiday times help define who we are, where we've been, and where we are going. While the holidays can result in joy, they can also result in conflicts within your family and your friendships. They can illustrate differences between generations and sometimes differences and challenges with spouses or other family members. Many questions naturally arise during the holidays. How are we going to celebrate this year? When and where do we gather? How much money should we spend? How do we interface religious observance with any kind of secular beliefs? How do we meet different expectations from different families of origin? And of course, at times, for some, how many presents do we get the children? Well, in sum, while we hope holidays are wonderful times, they can also fuel complex emotions that we don't always understand. We're wise then to acknowledge that holidays can be particularly difficult for those who've experienced particularly any kind of heartbreak. And let's take a moment to acknowledge what some of those heartbreaks might just be. Broken hearts can result from a variety of life losses, life transitions. And among those could be things like the death of someone precious to you, going through a divorce, breakups, estrangement, physical separations, illness, physical changes, potential betrayals, abuse, loss of one's dreams or hopes, traumatic accidents. Some people experience the loss of their home, whether that's to fire or flood or necessary move. Financial hardships that some people encounter along life's path, job loss, the death of a precious pet. And what about the onset of dementia, not just for the person, but for their family members, for their friends? While this is no way an all inclusive list of heartbreakers, we know that many people experience grief during the holidays. That results in the need to mourn and to receive support that you need, that you deserve. And that reminds me of the important distinction to make between grief and mourning. When we have heartbreaks, when grief enters our lives, yes, we have an internal response to loss. That's grief, the thoughts and feelings inside. But to be able to integrate loss into our lives requires that we authentically mourn. And I just remind you that mourning is the shared social response. It's taking your grief and putting it into action. Very important distinction to be aware of, because if you grieve and don't mourn, you in fact don't integrate losses or heartbreaks into your life. During holiday times, we're often told things like, be happy, rejoice. I'll remind you that what we really need to do is know there are times in life to recognize our vulnerabilities and tend to our broken hearts. At a time when everyone is supposed to be happy and rejoice, people with broken hearts of any kinds are naturally at risk of feeling sadness, feeling lonely, being anxious, potentially angry, and often at times sad or depressed. Everywhere the person experiencing grief turns, there's something to break their heart just a little more. Stores are decorated up, music is in the air, people are asking you, what are you going to do for the holidays? Well, it only makes sense that there can be some real value in reminding ourselves of some practical tips to survive any holiday blues that we might encounter and maybe even be able to thrive despite the challenges that the holidays can sometimes bring into our lives. So let's take a look at some practical tips that can help you survive and again, thrive. Well, first of all, acknowledge your blues. That means that instead of denying how you're feeling, particularly when your divine spark has been muted or extinguished potentially, you acknowledge that reality. Because we know that ignoring blues doesn't make them go away. Often people will say, how are you? And if you find yourself saying, I'm fine, how are you? And they say they're fine, then we create an environment that doesn't truly acknowledge your authenticity. Pretending you're fine when you're not will only increase your blues. So you need to be able to be with supportive people. Identify your friends, your family who understand the normalcy of holiday blues and in no way shame you. Be with people who allow you to talk about what's going on in your life without bringing any sense of judgment. And when you do that, you might want to keep in mind my rule of thirds. A third of people around us when we feel down are often neutral. They don't necessarily hurt you or help you. Another third, you'll actually end up feeling worse after you're around them than before. So you want to look for your helpful or what we call therapeutic third, people who affirm you, don't shame you for being down at times, and understand the normalcy of that during the holidays. What about recognizing your limits? If you've had losses and stress that's resulted in the blues, your energy will naturally be low. We actually have a term for it called the lethargy of grief. It's where your body isn't reaching deep sleep during this time of year often. Your circadian rhythms are thrown off. You may see a resurgence of sleep disturbance with either initial insomnia, trouble getting to sleep, or maybe even more commonly, some early morning awakening where you wake up several times during the night or around 4 or 5 in the morning, thinking of those people in your life that may have gone before you. So respect your body, your mind, your spirit, and what it's telling you. Make sure you remember the foundations of good self care. Lay your body down 2 or 3 times a day, just 15, 20 minutes and rest it. Stay hydrated, 5 or 6 big tall glasses of water throughout the day. Maybe take a 20 or 30-minute walk. Those kind of practical things can assist you with basic self-care. Eliminate unnecessary stress. Experiencing the blues demands that you don't overexert yourself. You want to avoid over-isolating yourself, but be sure to recognize the need to have special time for yourself. All of us in our lives at times need to go to exile before we come back out into the world. Watch out for the Grinch. There's usually a Grinch somewhere in your family or your friendship systems. Actually, it's much more common than many people are aware. And that's the person who projects negativity. And that can range from passive aggressive refusal to participate in holidays to an attempt actually to consciously kind of spoil it for everybody else. The Grinch often rejects the value of traditions and expresses anger that makes it difficult to celebrate in their presence. Grinches, when allowed to, will often manage to leave behind many hurt feelings, such as frustration, disappointment, at times even anger. A key to surviving a Grinch within your family system or friendship system is anchored in setting boundaries with them and a conscious decision to not let them spoil your holiday gatherings. You have to recognize that this person may or may not ever be able to embrace the role of celebration tied to holidays, but again, you don't want them to be able to spoil it for you and other members of your family. What about the importance of avoiding the overuse of alcohol, food, and drugs? Well, naturally, when stress rises, some people will find themselves turning to alcohol, to food, or drugs as kind of self treating their pain. Obviously, these are unhealthy efforts to cope with stress or the blues that can result in bad outcomes, ranging from family blowups or potential cutoffs that occur within your family system. So be very careful about the overuse of alcohol, food, or drugs. Plan ahead for your family gatherings. Structure your holiday time. Decide what traditions that you want to participate. Give thought to any changes that might make it more comfortable for you to still gather as a family. This is going to allow you to anticipate activities rather than just reacting to whatever might happen. Allow yourself to be present. Holidays are opportunities to take pause, to be present to each other. So I suggest taking a break from technology. Put your phone down. Stay away from your computer. Take a break from so much television, if you will. There's a Swiss author that recently said, technology is the art of so arranging the world that you do not have to experience it. Well, there's ever a time to experience being present to your family and friends, it's during the holidays. So take that break from technology and give your full attention to the people around you. Be gentle with yourself. That's about accepting, not fighting feelings that you experience during holiday times. If you're happy, be happy, rejoice. But if you're sad, be sad and don't be feeling shame around the reality of that. Follow your instincts as you allow yourself to experience whatever you feel. Enter into what you feel without thinking you have to immediately try to change it or deny it or go around it or self treat it. Extend your caring, your generosity. There's something so satisfying about helping others in need during holiday times. So explore ways to put your care into action. Model it for other members of your family as well. Pass that caring down even transgenerationally to your children, to your grandchildren. Let them see there are people who aren't as fortunate perhaps as you are, and reach out and express that caring. The act of giving often helps counter holiday blues. Nurture your spiritual life. During the holidays, it's natural to reflect on your faith or your spiritual beliefs, your philosophy of life, if you will. Be around people who understand and respect your core values. You might even find it helpful to attend a holiday service, create a ceremony that's meaningful to you and your family, attend a religious ceremony, but do what's right for you, but nurture your spiritual life. Reflect on your life purpose. Holidays create a natural opportunity to take inventory of our lives, to take a look at our past, to look at our present, to take a look at, anticipate our future. So allow yourself to slow down, to turn inward. Ask yourself, what gives my life true meaning? What gives my life true purpose? So let's take a look in summary at a few of the natural, practical tips that can not only help you survive, but thrive. So acknowledge your blues, be with supportive people, recognize your limits, eliminate unnecessary stress, watch out for the Grinch, avoid the overuse of alcohol, of food, of drugs. Plan ahead for your family gatherings. Allow yourself to be present. Be gentle with yourself. Extend your caring, your generosity. Nurture your spiritual life. And certainly take the time to reflect on what brings meaning and purpose to your life and to those around you. I remind you that ritual and constancy are the very essence that bring meaning to the holidays. They provide an opportunity to remind us of what's important and truly sacred in our lives. Holidays invite us to remember the past, yes, and to anticipate the future. As I always say, there's natural times in life when you must listen to the music of the past so you can sing in the present and hopefully dance into the future. While you may be at risk for holiday blues, my sincere hope is that these practical tips will help you not only survive, but also help you thrive. If any of you would benefit from some of the resources through our Center for Lost bookstore, please be aware that I've been honored to write a book that's been helpful to many people titled Healing Your Holiday Grief, 100 Practical Ideas for Blending Mourning and Celebration During the Holiday Season. There's also your capacity to access a helping brochure titled Helping Yourself Heal During the Holiday Seasons that can be particularly to people who've had life losses during this time. For more information, for articles, for any way we might be able to assist you, you can go to our website at centerforlost.com. My direct email is drwolfelt@centerforlost.com. And our phone number at the Center for Loss and Life Transition is 970-226-6050. Thank you so much for allowing me to take a few minutes with you and I together, taking a look at practical tips and ways that you can not only survive but thrive during naturally challenging times of the holidays. Yes, I hope there are times for you of happiness and joy, but don't shame yourself that it also invites you to kind of suspend, look at your life losses, look at your heartbreaks, and find ways to still have meaning and purpose in your life while you affirm what it is that you're experiencing. Again, thank you so much for just spending a few minutes of your time with me. I hope genuinely that we cross paths one day.